What's going on, guys? Welcome to Steve Does Stuff. I'm Steve, and today we're going to be doing some truck stuff. We are going to be replacing the backup camera on my 2016 GMC Canyon. For those of you who don't know, it's got the all-terrain package and has the 3.6 liter LFX motor in it. The truck's almost 6 years old in July. It's got about 211,000 kilometers on it, and there's a couple things that I noticed are kind of starting to get, let's say, worn on it. Now, my intention with this truck is to try and keep it going as long as possible. And so far, knock on wood, there hasn't really been any issues with it. You know, it is still a truck, so there's a couple things that I have noticed that are starting to get worse and worse. One of those things is definitely the backup camera. It's really evident when I get in my wife's car. The backup camera is super clean, super crispy, whereas in this one, it always looks like there's some fog on it. So today, I'm gonna be replacing the backup camera. So the actual camera itself doesn't really appear to have any serious issue with it. You can see it's kind of a little cloudy, and I can't tell if that's on the inside or the outside of it. Looking around online, I've heard there's some tips like you can try and polish them up and try and save the lens. Just like the clear coat of your vehicle, it kind of gets degraded after a while from all the salt and the UV. So, I mean, that is a solution, but like I'm just gonna replace the whole thing because this doesn't really look like that big of a deal of a job. And let me show you what it actually looks like in the truck. So that's what we're dealing with right now. It has the movable parking sensors or whatever it's called, but it's super foggy, super glary, and I mean, it still works, but it could be better. The replacement camera that I got is from Dorman, got it off of Rock Auto. I wasn't able to find a full-on AC Delco replacement, which is a little disappointing. I try and stay as close to factory as I can. So this is the camera from Dorman. It kind of goes in behind there. Looking at the actual lens, it looks like it's a little flatter, whereas the one in the truck is kind of a little bit more convex, but our plug relatively looks the same. This is what we got. It does come with some installation instructions, not super important, but this is what we're dealing with. So I'm gonna go show you where the wiring harness runs so we can kind of clean it off because my truck is absolutely disgusting. So unlike newer versions of these trucks, the 2016s didn't come with like the locking and unlocking tailgate. So when you lock the truck, you still gotta come around and stick your key in it, kind of old-fashioned style. So that means the only real electronics that are going to this tailgate are for the camera. So you look here, there's the harness coming out of here. So that is only gonna be going to the camera. Pop under the truck. This is the plug we're gonna need to get at, and this is the harness that comes out. Don't pay much attention to these red lines. These are for my air lines. You can see I did a real great job of bending that up out of the way, but we gotta clean this guy off, and it's sort of held in place here by a tab. So I'm gonna see if I can pop that down. So when it comes to trying to get this harness off, it actually slides in place and is held there like this. So I'm pulling this way is towards the passenger side of the truck. If you pull this out, it will then just dangle. So you've got a little bit more area to work with. I'm gonna clean it off a little bit more, but now that I've got that little red tab unlocked, I should be able to just work this plug off with two hands. But I'm gonna clean it up a little bit more because it looks like hell. Don't forget, whenever you're working on a vehicle and you're under it and it's nice and dirty, eye protection is super important, so always engage the safety squints. After an appropriate amount of cursing and swearing, I got this guy out. Before I go ahead and do any more disassembly, I'm gonna plug the new camera into this, fire up the truck, and just test it to make sure everything's the way it should be. Pretty confident, but look, you're never too good to screw it up, so let's try. Okay, new plug. Try and line these guys up as best I can. Ooh. Not how I recommend leaving it, but it'll certainly do for the test. So it's worth noting, if you don't have the truck started, this thing will not work. The backup camera will not work. So let's check out our improvement. Ooh, okay. How's our little, oh yeah, beautiful. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's better. So now that we've tested that, I've still got this camera unhooked, but we'll need to actually get access to the back side of the handle, and that means we're gonna have to take this panel off right here. So this little access panel here is held on by 8 T15 bolts. Once we pop this off, it'll give us access to the back of this, and I'm sure it's gonna be disgusting in here based on the underside of the truck. This is oil sprayed. Don't pay attention to the mess in the back. This is oil sprayed, so it's gonna be collecting garbage and dust and horrific things. Make sure you lose these. What's it gonna look like under here? Wow, not nearly as bad as I thought. I am blown away with how clean the inside of this is. That's not being facetious even a bit. This is a great opportunity to just kind of take a look at the tailgate. Like I said, this is a 2016 model, and they did not offer the automatic lock and unlock with the doors for the tailgate. So the only electronics you have to deal with is basically right here. This is the camera, and it's actually just held in place by two little screws, and then it will kind of come out of the housing, so we don't have to remove any of this. So these two little screws in here are what hold this in place, and these are a T20 screw. Undo both of those and it should lift right out. Then it just starts to pull out. Do not drop these screws in the tailgate because you're probably going to be screwed if you do. Put them right there, so then when you put the tailgate up, you lose them. And that's our little camera body. So let's look at these guys side by side. So we got new v old. You can see that other one's got a lot more convex to it, I believe. Convex, concave, convex. Design's a little bit different on the inside, but the screws will still probably line up at the same spot and hold it on the right angles. We know it works, so it's gonna be an improvement no matter what. Before you get too gung-ho and just kind of rip this out, keep in mind that if you just take this all the way out, you cannot get your hands in through here. So if you're trying to hit this hole from all the way back here, you're gonna be in trouble. So instead, implement the extremely high-tech string method. So I've tied a piece of string to the plug of the camera, so as I pull this out, I will be able to get the string all the way over here while still having the end right here. I do the opposite, tie the new camera plug to it, drag the string back through. It's gonna make life much easier. So let's do this. And away it goes. And that's that. So now I've got an easy way to fish this back through. String is marking where we need to go. This is gonna be our one last look at AC Delco v Dorman. A couple things to note, it's got this really nice like corrugated wire protector on it. It appears to be just a little bit longer, so it means we're not gonna be fighting for space. Everything appears to line up great. So, I'm gonna tie this up, put it back together. I'm also gonna tape over the ends, I don't want any crap getting in there. Hopefully it stays a little bit cleaner on the way through. So this is what the proper placement is going to look like. These two little outside holes are almost like locator pins. So to make sure that, so you got to make sure these are really nice and lined up in here. These locators, give it a firm push down, and that's in place ready to be screwed in. From the other side, looking pretty good. It fits quite nice. So let's bang those T20s back in, connect it up, we're basically done. Our end result for this. It's not really quite as nice of a fit and finish as the original factory one, but it'll definitely do. One last check to make sure it still works. All right, here's the big reveal. Oh yeah, it's not even close. Honestly, not the best camera in the world, but you can still see things so much better. That's gonna do it for this episode of Steve Does Stuff, guys. I hope this video helps somebody out there who's trying to keep their truck going as long as possible. Thanks very much for watching. See you next time, guys.